Catch up tayo about life, career, love, relationships, and many more.
Kaya samahan mo kami magtawanan at kwentuhan over anything under the sun.
Tara,
Kape?
Hi guys! Welcome back to Kape Podcast!
Hello everyone and welcome back! How are you this week, of course, before we start our podcast?
A bit busy. Ang daming
You're
ganap
always
with
busy,
work.
girl.
I know. Super busy with work and also mga side hustles ko. Wow!
Extracurricular
Ah!
activities.
Mga orgs ko, life orgs.
Yeah. Oo.
Ayun. Ikaw ba?
Well, my week was great. Wala naman ako nakaaway.
Ay, very good. Dapat
Kidding.
lang.
It was great because finally I've heard from some companies na in-applyan ko and they're looking very good. The outlook is positive.
Yeah.
So let's hope na tuloy-tuloy ang ating swerte. But
I
yeah,
love
that's how
it.
my week went.
Okay.
Moving on, sis, anong pag-uusapan natin today? I'm so excited.
Sobrang excited din ako kasi ito talaga yung topic na lagi natin pinag-uusapan kahit sinong tao, di ba? Especially recently na nag-start yung pandemic. So, to start this episode, lagi natin naririnig from other people ever since yung love yourself first before you love another person, or dito mangyayari if you only loved yourself, you have to love yourself more, blah blah, yung mga ganong advice, di ba? Pero before understanding those phrases, what is self-love ba? For you, sis, what is self-love?
Sa totoo lang, before I give the meaning of self-love, nahirapan talaga akong magsulat ng script because there are a lot of things that I wanted to say, but we have to keep it within our time frame, which is at least 30 to 45 minutes max para hindi naman mabore ang mga listeners. Anyway, like goals, what we discussed last week, the meaning of self-love is very subjective because we all have different ways to take care of ourselves. Pero as it is, self-love is the love of oneself. Now, this means that you appreciate yourself, you have a high regard for your own happiness and well-being, and it also means taking care of your needs and not sacrificing your well-being just for the sake of pleasing other people. And I've mentioned this in episode 1 that if you love yourself, you have to know what you want and what you deserve, and that you're not going to settle for anything less than that. And ultimately, self-love means accepting yourself for who you are in this very moment, and it's also accepting the fact that you are not enough and that you will never be enough and still be okay with it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are gonna be shocked perhaps dun sa sinabi ko na not being okay, because most often than not, what we read online or sa mga books or what we usually hear from other people is that they keep on dictating that that we are enough or that you are enough, 'di ba? When it comes to self-love. But I think I have a different take on it. You are not enough and still be okay with it. And I'm going to expound more about it later. But for the meantime, ikaw sis, ano ba ang meaning ng self-love for you?
Ang naisip ko first is it's actually the first step to building a healthy relationship with yourself, 'di ba? And it's basically about self-appreciation and self-acceptance. So, it's actually the way we care for our physical, mental, and emotional health. And like what you said nga, it makes us hold high standards for our own well-being and happiness. So, to move forward, bakit ba important yung self-love? Why does it matter?
Um, Primarily, I think self-love helps us to see our own value and our worth. And it makes you realize that, you know what, you don't need other people other people's validation in order to feel
Yeah.
worthy. Kasi you will be able to come into terms of who you are, and being able to accept for who you are in totality means that you can move through the world with confidence and authenticity. So it means being yourself. And kasi too often we let our self-image be dictated by society and what we see in social media.
Mm-mm.
And gaya nga ng sinabi ko kanina, I am not enough, you are not enough, and no one is. But that's okay kasi self-love is going to teach you not to hide your own flaws and compare yourself to others. And it also is going to help you realize that you're not perfect, and you don't have to be perfect or try to be perfect, because we're humans, we're very flawed. But self love is gonna allow us to be vulnerable and be unafraid to reach out for help from other people.
Yeah. And we both know naman, 'di ba, that self-love can mean a lot of things for each person. Pero for me, self-love matters because it makes us realize that it's time to prioritize and take care of ourselves and quit sacrificing our well-being just to please other people, like what you said nga, 'di ba? So, yeah, it's very important because without self-love, we won't be able to learn to appreciate ourselves fully. We won't learn how to accept our flaws, our weaknesses, and maybe other things that we hate about ourselves. Pero for sure, for the past few years, practicing self-love has become a challenge for many of us, especially when we're faced with struggles or obstacles in life. So, yung totoo niya, 'di ba, it cannot be learned overnight talaga. It really takes
Yeah.
time, 'di ba?
Yes,
So,
sobra.
despite that, we've actually thought a lot about practicing this self-love. So, may share ka bang realizations over the past few years na na-experience mo regarding self-love?
Yes, oo naman. Yung number one realization ko is that no one is responsible for my own happiness, but actually myself. You know this, and I used to share it to you na I used to be such a people pleaser who would constantly put the needs and wants of others before my own. And I guess that stems from the fact that I grew up in a family wherein expectations were set high even when I was just a kid. So, my understanding of what happiness was back then is that it's always putting others first, regardless if my well being was being compromised already. Dati, hindi ako magiging masaya kapag hindi ko napasaya yung ibang tao. So, in short, my happiness used to lie in the hands of other people.
Yeah. Siyempre na-experience ko rin din yun noon. Pero because of self-love nga po, unti-unti natin na-realize yung worth natin, di ba?
Mm-mm.
So, ako naman, ang share ko is self-love taught me self-acceptance.
Mm-mm.
So, for the past few years, to be honest, I was really insecure. I hated myself and I always drag myself down. Siyempre, alam mo yun, di ba? And I also hated the fact that, for example, I'm not good looking like other people, I'm not smart, I'm not talented enough, yung mga ganong bagay. And actually, it's ironic kasi whenever I give advices to people, I tell them to love
Yun
their
yung
selves, di
sinasabi
ba?
mo.
Pinopromote ko talaga yung self-love sa
Pero
kanila,
hindi
pero
mo
hindi ko
kayang
magawa
gawin.
sa akin.
Yeah.
It's really weird, pero it's actually something that I need to work on.
Mm-mm.
And before kasi, I usually compared myself to other people and make sure that I should be like them in order for me to be happy and make myself feel worthy, ganyan. And aware naman ako na mali yun before, pero it was really a struggle to practice self-love before, the correct way or the healthy way. So ayun, fast forward, I tried to change my mindset from being perfect all the time to being a work in progress. So honestly, it took me a long time eh. Baby steps talaga siya. And paunti-unti, I learned to embrace my flaws, my weaknesses, my limitations, and everything that I hated about myself. So I can say that self love made me experience genuine happiness, and it also made me believe and trust in myself even more.
Yes. She's
Pwede na ba
such
pang
a
Miss
grown ass
Universe? I
woman.
know! Are you proud?
such a different person from who you
I
are during
know!
college. It's
Grabe talaga.
Natalia, ano ba,
From here
3.0 na
to
rin.
there.
Yeah.
Thank God though. Char.
Okay. So, ako naman, my second realization is that self-love really helped me make healthy choices in life. Kasi when I started to held myself in high esteem, I was more likely to choose the things that will actually nurture my well-being and serve me well. And these things may be in the form of, eating healthy, exercising, and
Mm-mm.
of course, having healthy relationships. So you express your love for yourself by doing things that actually help you and show up in life as the best version of you. And I realized that it's one thing to desire for you to be treated like, it's one thing to desire for others to treat you like a queen, but if you're not actually treating yourself that way, or you don't see yourself as a queen, well, you will never attract someone who is gonna do the same for you. And it
Yeah.
also goes the same with your job and your lifestyle, because you're the one who's actually going to decide that you are worthy, and you're also going to be able to manifest that worthiness if you're going to love yourself first. So lastly, when you actually raise your opinion of yourself, you also raise your value, which means that
Mm-mm.
every single thing that you're actually gonna do in your life will also level up. Kaya I always am gonna say this, and you guys should be reminded of this, that please keep your bars raised and always set your standards high for yourself. Okay? No one deserves to settle for less. As in, no one.
True. Palagi mo yung reminder eh.
Yes,
Especially
it
sa akin.
is. You know
Kasi
it.
yun nga, di ba, self-love means not settling for less than you
Mm-mm.
deserve. Yun
Oo
talaga.
naman.
And
At saka ikaw
also,
yung... Okay, go. Go ahead.
go.
Ang ano kasi, kaya sinasabi ko yung you should be able to know your standards. Kasi ikaw lang naman talaga yung makakaalam nun, and that you should not
Mm-mm.
let other people dictate what you actually deserve. Kasi, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Parang ang mali naman nun. Bakit sila yung
Sobrang mali.
nakakaalam? Dapat ikaw yung
Mm-mm.
makaalam kung ano yung deserve mo.
Kasi ikaw lang nakakilala sa sarili mo eh, di ba?
Exactly.
Hindi ka dapat makinig sa iba.
Mm-mm.
Yun. And also, healthy reminder rin yan na to treat yourself the way you want to be treated by other people.
Mm-mm.
Pantay lang dapat. So, ayun. Ako naman, another realization or learning from self-love is it taught me that being alone or single is not lonely, but it's actually about
Yes!
getting to know yourself better.
Boom!
Period. Diba?
Yeah.
So, diba, of
I love
course,
that.
way before, society made us think that being single is a sin.
Kaya nga.
That being single won't make us happy. For them, it's like a requirement to have a partner in order to achieve
Oo.
happiness. Syempre,
Agree.
noon, ano pa ako, padaling mapaniwala sa mga ganun. So, I agree. Then, alam mo yun, parang naapektuhan yung nafe-feel ko.
Mm-mm.
Pero during my lonely hours kasi, I was weirded by the feeling of enjoying my own company before to And I love going to the cinemas alone. I enjoy walking the streets alone. I go to restaurants all by myself. Tapos madalas ako pumunta sa mall. Ako lang mag-isa. Hindi ako nag-aaya kasi alam ko, ma-enjoy ko siya mag-isa talaga eh. And to be
Yeah.
honest, mas nakilala ko sarili ko over time. And ang
Mm-mm.
dami ko rin na-discover na new skills or talent and that I can actually do. And I had more time to work on my goals, which I really loved. And to be honest, ito yung phase talaga na napamahal talaga ako sa sarili ko. And of course, I want a partner, syempre, in the future. Pero right now kasi, self-love made me realize that being alone is also okay, di ba? Yun.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that realization. And actually, ire-reword ko lang, but my realization is almost the same as yours. So, self-love actually taught me to enjoy my own company. Kasi, like
Mm-mm.
you, I used to be one of those people who think that I also need to have a partner for me to be happy. Kasi maybe it's because of, what I see and hear from families and friends and what social media tries to dictate to us. Kaya ito rin yung isa sa mga reasons bakit nauso yung salitang sana all, because many of us desire to have the kind of relationship goals we see online, pero hindi natin naisip na kaya mo rin naman yun ibigay sa sarili mo, yung ganong klase ng pagmamahal at attention without having a partner, sa totoo lang.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
don't
true.
realize that because we are also busy obsessing over relationships of other people when we could have already given ourselves the kind of love and attention that we actually deserve. And also, I used to be very conscious whenever I had to go out on my own to run errands or eat alone outside, kasi I have this very ridiculous thinking that people are gonna judge me or look at
Ang
me
awkward before,
differently. Oh,
no?
because I'm doing things on my own. But when I learned to enjoy my own company, I was even able to travel alone. And I'm telling you that it was an experience to remember because I really enjoyed and it was definitely liberating. Kaya shout out to the person who assumed or maybe insinuated that I didn't enjoy my staycation a few weeks ago simply because I wasn't with my family or any friends. You know what? I was
Ay, naku.
having some me time, and I think that kailangan mo ring matutunan yung self-love para ma-enjoy mo yung sarili mong company. Kasi I really believe that it's a disaster to walk around like you need someone else to complete you when in fact
Yeah,
you're already whole and complete and validated independently.
I
And
love it.
I thank you.
Mabuhay mga single.
Yeah.
Ay, nako, sana mapakinggan niyo tong episode na 'to. Joke.
Yeah, I really hope because it's such a fun episode. I really like this one.
Yeah. And me naman, another realization is that self-love also taught me to say no. Diba? Kasi
Mm-mm.
we grew up learning to say yes to all things, even those that we don't
Mm-mm.
want, diba? And
Yeah.
basically, before, wala naman tayong choice because we really want to fit in. And we also, yun nga, like what you
Oo,
said
isa pang
kanina,
factor yan.
we had the habit of pleasing other people, di ba? Just to feel accepted, loved, or wanted. And that's just sad. Ang sad nun.
Mm-mm.
And maybe before, yeah, it made you happy at first kasi you feel loved by these people
Oo.
just because you said yes. Pero it's actually sad because you lost your right and your ability to say no eh. Siguro before yun nga, hindi nga ako aware that time. For sure, I was not experiencing genuine happiness nun. Kaya
Oo.
yun, during the process of learning self-love, I slowly started to learn how to say no to people. And to be honest, it was hard during the process, but it really taught me to distinguish between my needs and others' needs.
Yeah.
And I also realized that caring about what I want, about what I don't want, and who I am as a person is really part of loving myself. Ayun. One of my favorite
Yes.
realizations.
Yeah. And just to add lang to what you said, sa una lang talaga mahirap mag-say no, but once you get the hang of it, I guess, it's gonna be easier. Kasi unti-unti mo talaga marirealize na, you're just human. Hindi naman sa lahat ng bagay kailangan mong mag-yes, especially with things that you don't like or you aren't comfortable doing. So, yun.
Yeah, that's true. And
Yes.
'di ba sobrang sarap sa pakiramdam to listen to these realizations that we had. Pero kung iisipin din, self-love can become toxic sometimes.
Mm. Paano
So,
ba?
how is that possible? So, ang first na share ko is it can make you look like you're a narcissist person. Kasi, di ba, people often confuse narcissistic behavior with self-love. And we all know na those two things are very different. Pero
Yeah.
kasi there are cases where people who practice self-love overdo it and
Mm.
they end up showing narcissistic behavioral traits. So they become so self-centered, everything everything's about them lang, and they disregard or don't consider other people's feelings or opinions, thoughts, or experiences. So this results to relationships falling apart. And FYI lang, self-love is not selfish at all, di ba? Prioritize yourself, syempre. Pero it doesn't mean you should disregard other people.
Yep,
Yun.
I agree. Okay, so ako naman, I have to um, things that I could share kung paano ba nagiging toxic yung self-love. So, if you guys are familiar with this Filipino saying, lahat ng sobra masama. So,
Mm-mm.
self-love in excess can also be destructive. Number one, it can be self-destructive if you expect yourself to love yourself completely, as in 100% 24/7. 24/7. Remember that forcing love will never have a positive outcome, and this will just lead to you feeling disappointed or feeling mo failure ka, and actually yung self-love baka maging self-hatred pa, and these
Mm-mm.
things will definitely affect your mental health, your physical health, as well as your overall being. And you know what, it's self-love doesn't mean that you have to love your stretch marks, your acne, or your laughter that's too loud. Acceptance is actually enough, and accepting who you are and what you stand for is enough. Kasi self-love should be viewed as loving yourself at your own pace for your own reason, and it should be feeling confident, embracing your weirdness, and striving to be happy. Because the idea that you have to love yourself 100% is actually ridiculous or absurd. You may already
Mm-mm.
love yourself, be a work in progress, or just starting your self love journey. But the important thing to remember is that you are worthy of love from the very beginning. From everyone, from everything, and that includes yourself. Yung second ko naman is that self-love can be destructive to the society if you do not understand the difference between self-worth and self-entitlement. So, ano ba yung pinagkaiba ng dalawa? Yung self-worth, it means self-respect. It means taking full responsibility of your own reality, and you have that sense of contribution towards the society. Tulad nga ng sinabi mo kanina,
Mm-mm.
hindi pwedeng ikaw lang ng ikaw. Hindi po pwedeng
Yeah.
self-centered ka. You have to also consider other people's feelings. Meanwhile, yung self-entitlement naman is another term for they owe me. Meaning, merong people owe you. You know, parang dapat may kailangan silang ibigay sa'yo, or dapat may makuha ka sa kanila,
Mm-mm.
basically. So, of course, there is nothing wrong with desiring wealth, joy, or a fulfilling relationship. And it certainly does not mean that you're a greedy person by wanting those things. Kasi you definitely deserve a true blessing of abundance in every possible way. But keep in mind that, again, nobody owes you anything. And this was even said by an American writer. If you actually know him, he's Mark Twain. So sabi ni Mark Twain,
Mm-mm.
don't go around saying the world owes you a living. The world owes you nothing. It was here first.
Ay,
So
gusto ko
please,
yun.
tigilan mo yung pagiging entitled mo. Galit?
Galit ka na naman.
Triggered eh.
Ayun. Kaya, ang ganda na na-discuss natin to, yung toxic side ng self-love. Kasi usually hindi to napapag-usapan.
Yeah,
Parati yung
oo.
positive
The
side eh.
positive side.
So, yeah. So, at least yung mga listeners natin, aware na sila about that side of self-love.
Yeah, so you
And,
guys wouldn't fall into the trap of
yeah.
those things we mentioned.
Mm-mm. So, it's like an awareness na rin.
Yep.
So, ngayon, since we've shared our realizations about self-love, let's give naman the listeners some tips on how to practice self-love.
Yes. Do I go first?
Yeah, go.
Okay, sige. Yung number one ko, I guess this is a foundation for everything that we're gonna say. So number one is you should stop equating self-love with selfishness. Kasi when you think this way, it would really become hard to take good care of yourself because it limits your mind. Dahil tingin mo nga, masama yung self-love. But instead,
Mm-mm.
you should keep in mind that it's okay to put your own needs first. And when you no longer think of loving yourself as selfish, it would feel more natural to take good care of your body, your mind, and your spirit.
Yeah, ang ganda nun. And another tip naman is accept what you cannot love. 'Di ba nga sabi mo kanina,
Mm.
you don't have to love yourself 100%. And we know naman that it's easy to love what you love about yourself and it's hard to love the things that you don't, and that's actually
Mm-mm.
okay. So parang healthy reminder na to sa lahat that you don't need to love everything about yourself in order to experience self-love. So all you need here is acceptance.
Yep. Okay, so yung second naman is you have to be kind to yourself and forgive yourself. And this means that you should not beat yourself up when you commit mistakes or when you weren't able to achieve the goal that you so badly wanted to achieve. Instead, you have to learn how to celebrate the small wins, no matter how small or big it is. And that you deserve a pat on yourself on the back and be proud of what you have achieved so far. And if you show support to other people, then dapat alam mo rin kung paano supportan yung sarili mo, 'di ba? So for
Mm.
all the mistakes that you did, I think it's really important to let them go and move on. Kasi, you can't change the things that you did in the past, but you are able to control what's in your present, which is gonna affect your future. So just look at it as a learning and believe in your ability to change.
Yeah. Actually, sobrang, yun yung pinaka, one of the hardest tips,
For
di
you.
ba? For me, and siguro for other people, I mean, when listening to it, parang mukhang kaya, pero when you're there,
Ang
parang,
hirap.
oh my gosh, I keep on forgetting this tip eh.
Oo.
And actually, related yung tip mo sa next sasabihin ko, which is, true self-love doesn't have to be pretty, di ba? Loving yourself doesn't mean you're the smartest, the prettiest, or the most talented person in the world. Actually, self-love is not about the look, but it's more on how you feel. So, what I'm trying to say here is that self-love is a lifelong process, and throughout the throughout the process, 'di ba sabi mo nga, meron tayong ma-experience na bad days and mga bumpy roads, ganyan. So, pag mga ganong bagay, we should just accept the fact that it happened. Don't force yourself to be happy 24/7 just to experience self-love. Allow yourself to feel things fully, both joy and pain. Kasi this will help you understand yourself better, and at the same time, you can turn these emotions into like a fuel that makes you get back up and start over. So, doon basically magsa-start yung growth mo. So, this is a reminder to accept your imperfections during the process.
Yep, yep, yep. Okay. Number three naman. Ito, shocks. Ang hirap nito. But I'm telling you guys, kinaya ko. So I'm pretty sure kaya nyo rin.
Yes.
Number three is end all toxic relationships in your life. So anyone who makes you question your worth, your value, your knowledge, or your capabilities and makes you feel like shit doesn't deserve to be a part of your life. And this doesn't just mean a boyfriend, a girlfriend. It can also actually mean a friend or perhaps a family. Actually, ang hirap niya, but you know what, you should really be able to prioritize your sanity. As in,
Mm-mm.
basta, yon. Ang dami ko nang, kung kilala niyo ako personally, I'm telling you, I've had to cut a lot of
Yeah.
relationships with other
Talagang
people as in
let
the
go
years.
talaga.
Like, sabi ko nga sa'yo, mabibilang na sa one hand or maybe two hands kung ilan yung like true friends ko talaga. Mm-mm.
Yeah, same. So yun nga, the secret to self-love is to bring the right people to your life.
True.
'Di ba?
Mm-mm.
Kailangan maalala yun. And another tip for me is stop comparing yourself to others, syempre. This is a daily reminder for all of us because, 'di ba, this became a natural habit to some people dahil
Oo.
hindi naman
Lalo na sa social
maiwasan.
media. Mm-mm.
Yeah, pero alam mo yun, kahit di maiwasan, it's a no. Like, kailangan mo iwasan. It's really not healthy, especially on your journey to self-love. Kasi self-love is about focusing on yourself and on your own journey. Dapat you don't mind what other people would say and you don't have to compare your level or your progress with theirs kasi magkaiba nga
Yeah.
kayo. Yun.
Correct. And actually, you should be thankful and grateful that you're made unique. Uniquely.
Mm.
Kasi 'di ba if pare-pareho tayo, wala nang thrill 'yun.
Yeah,
'Di
hindi
ba?
na
Isipin mo
exciting.
if my learning is the same from your learning, how can we even learn? 'Di
Wala,
ba?
stagnant growth for sure.
Exactly. So before we wrap up, I have my one last tip. And actually, you've already mentioned this a while ago sa one of your realizations. And my fourth tip is actually you need to learn to say no. Because saying no actually doesn't really make you a bad person. Instead, it actually makes you a smart person if you think about it. You don't need to say yes or pressure yourself to like things that you aren't comfortable doing just for the sake of pleasing others or making them
Mm-mm.
happy. Kasi remember that your well-being is of utmost important here when you actually practice self-love.
Yeah, I love that. So sana maalala yung mga tips na yun, and it's okay if you struggle a bit during the process because it's really normal and we also
Mm-mm.
struggle, di ba? And yun nga, just like any other relationship, practicing self-love takes time, patience, and commitment. And like what I've said, we may struggle at times, but if you look back on your journey, you'll see how much you've grown. So be patient with yourself and also be kind din sa sarili mo.
Yes. So I think that's it for today, guys. I hope you
Yeah.
enjoyed our episode at marami kayong natutunan. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for listening and we will see you on our next episode. Bye.